S&box's development has put a ton of people within and outside the community on a rollercoaster ride of ups and downs, from hearing about and wanting to experience the next big game by Gary Newman and his team at Facepunch, which has been working on the game for the last couple of years, and to see what a spiritual successor to one of the biggest and most well-known games to grace the gaming sphere actually is. And while some of these updates have driven off some people because of massive engine changes, it has brought in newer people who are interested in some of its more bold and also innovative decisions that want to push boundaries and opportunities available for indie game developers, and also to redefine what could be possible with platforms that provide tons of user-generated content, which in all reality is currently a field already dominated by multi-billion-dollar companies that sit in their own respective thrones within their own kingdoms in the same role that labels them as sandbox games or user-generated content platforms. But there's a grand interest in if S&box will live up to its name and actually provide what it says it wants to do. From Gary mentioning this month about getting the official Steam page up imminently, working on improving the new player experience with efforts to improve how you join and quit games, and also continue on working on the official S&box game mode, the one that people keep painstakingly remind Gary of every day that should be in the game. But these updates I just mentioned are minute compared to the vast list of other things that have been added within the last year or so, and this isn't even the entire list. I've talked with many people in the community, including other developers who are not only working on games on S&box currently, but either do game development outside of S&box and have other jobs related to programming, and I asked them, what's your biggest concern with S&box? And within these conversations from these developers and hearing all their different perspectives, they all agreed on one thing, and that was compensation. In reality, while it's cool to see that there's a good amount of content that's slowly coming out on S&box as we get closer and closer to its inevitable release, the initiative that creating games with S&box has had for the last year or so has also had its ups and downs, with many developers in the past mentioning about waiting till the next game jam as they have a new initiative for working on games. The biggest challenge and hurdle that sits in front of Gary and Facepunch is, how can we compensate the people who create the games, models, and assets on our platform? And while Gary has talked about it in the past, it is one of the two things that will make or break S&box. I also asked within my community, if you had a concern about S&box, what would it be and why? Now, I like to open up the comment section of this video to allow basically anyone who's interested in S&box to explain as to what concern they would have with S&box and why. But after doing this, there were all different concerns people have with this game, and to summarize them in a more simpler manner, some people were more concerned about the game's overall direction and the way that it mimics Roblox's game platform model in some cases, to others concerned about how the game's presented as one thing but the people who are interested expected it in a different way, to others also concerned about the game's monetization model and how the developers would get paid to create the games, and another concern was the lack of documentation currently available, leading to some developers working on games that were going to be developed on S&box to move to other engines like Unity. For some of these concerns that are mentioned, more than likely Facepunch will work on them at some point in the future, and while others are genuine questions that people want direct answers for, so far we've gotten some explanations for these topics, while others have yet to be discussed or mentioned directly from Gary. While it seems like S&box in a way doesn't have a specific audience, the way that the game is being made and presented looks more like Gary trying to fix the mistakes he made when he created Gary's Mod, some including allowing developers who create a successful community and game to not be locked onto a platform, say for example Gary's Mod or S&box, but also be able to take that game and put it out officially on Steam with full-on Steam support built right into the game and ready to go. S&box was to bridge that issue that indie developers have with games like these platforms. And not only does S&box provide a way for people to create games and communities within S&box like Gary's Mod has already done, but also provide you the opportunity to take it beyond the platform and to put it on other platforms including Steam at no cost to the actual creators who made the tools. And while currently the systems and tools are in place, all Facepunch needs is the final response directly from Valve, which are the same people who provided an opportunity to Facepunch to create the game and now the modified S&box engine that the game uses. It baffles me that some people can't see the vision of how this could be something that's actually beneficial to everyone, as for game developers can get the chance to not only get a place where you can play and create games on an engine that does allow you to create what you want, but also provide you with an opportunity to expand outside of that platform with no repercussions, but also you as the gamer to be provided with a slew and selection of games that you can choose from with different styles, genres, and types you can experience on the platform. Of course, while content is the second factor that is the backbone of S&box alongside with monetization. It also has to come with an initiative to use the engine to create games in, and also a damn good reason for why you should use it. While there's many people who voiced many concerns about the game, again, because of the absolute rollercoaster of information, bits and pieces of what people are trying to put together to actually understand what S&box is, it's understandable the many concerns that some people have with the game, some ranging to frustrations of the expectations and the game's direction, to questions that we'll get answers for in the future. I think the biggest concern for me is S&box actually going to live up to what it says it's going to do? Once more again, join us in the conversation with the community about S&box in the comments down below, and also feel free to join in the Discord linked in the description where we talk about the game, hang out, and more. And if you want to know about what games you're missing out on S&box, click here. Thanks for watching.